In this video, we're going to have a quick look at the Panopto Standalone recorder, or the manual recorder as it used to be known. First things first, if you're on a PC university laptop, if we type in Software Center and open it up, in the applications, if we scroll down, we will be able to find a Panopto icon, and we will see the standalone recorder version 6 available. If we click on that, we will get the install dialog window, so we can click on that and it will automatically process it and install it. If you are having issues installing it through the Software Center, you can go onto the Panopto webpage, and underneath your name in the top right hand corner, once you've logged in, the option to download Panopto will be there available for you, and it will show you the best version for what you need for the computer you've got. This is also the way that you will download the Mac version of the recorder, as there isn't an equivalent Software Center for the university Mac fleet. One thing to note, that if you are using your PC off-site and then you want to download Panopto while you're off-site, you will need to click on the green shield to launch 40 client and click Connect to Plymouth University, just to create that connection so that the PC will allow you to download without requiring TIS assistance. If you do have experience issues trying to get the manual recorder, please drop us a line at Digital Education and we will be able to advise you how to get that up and running for yourself. Okay, so once we've got the system installed and we've logged in, we'll be presented with the manual recorder here. And it looks quite scary, but when we break it all down into segments, I think you'll find it actually it's quite intuitive to use once you kind of find your feet in it. So the first thing we're going to look at is session settings. So here we need to give the video a name. By default, we'll give it a time-stamped video, but we could call it demo recording. And we also need to select the folder we're going to record it to. So everyone should have a My Folder option for any courses that you have provisioned through the DLE and you're a teacher on, you will also see. So I've got quite a high level account as I'm an admin, so I've got access to all types of folders. What you will probably see is the faculty and school folder, and then you'll have to scroll down into your faculty, into your school, and then you'll be presented with any folder that you've got available to you there. If you know the module code, you can just type it in at the top. So if I was to do that, and then it would show me contemporary issues in clinical education, I can select that and I can record to that. For this example, I am just going to record to my folder. You may also see the first time you log in that it mirrors your DLE / and then your short name. That will still go to the My Folder setting. So when you're in the Panopto cloud, you can click on the My Folder option from the left-hand tab and it will show you all the videos there. So once you're happy with the folder and the name, the next thing to set up is your primary sources. So in terms of Panopto, the one thing that it 100% needs, that it always has to have, is an audio device. So it has to have a microphone that is picking up. If I chop just on the drop down, the microphone array, that'll be the one that you'll see if you're using a Lenovo university laptop. If that's right in front of you, that will probably be loud enough. But if you do have a headset, that would be preferable, because that gives you a set distance where the microphone is away from your mouth. So you're not so locked into the position of having to try and thinking just that you have to stay still to keep the levels of the volume the same. can also see that I've got a webcam plugged in and it's recognized that there's a microphone there. Anything that you plug in that is USB, let it install, and if Panopto recognizes it as a microphone or indeed a camera, it will be selectable from either one of these devices. So you have to have audio. The option to have video is up to you. Some people find it distracting knowing that they're being recorded, and other people it doesn't affect so much, but again, it's a personal choice. I personally think that it looks, in terms of what we're creating during this crisis, it's a better end product, but equally the content is the key. So if you don't want to use the video, don't feel that you have to. If you do want to use it, you can select integrated camera, which will show you the laptop, which is over on to my right hand side, or again, I've got that live cam, so I can select it here, and it will load it, and that's the one that's sat in front of me on my larger monitor. You can see that this volume control is going up and down, and it's using the live cam microphone. So if I move this blue dot up and down, you can see that that green bar starts to drop down. So that's my kind of volume control. So I can just use that to kind of finesse my volume. So I want it kind of up around this top part of green. It doesn't matter too much if it goes into yellow. It's not the end of the world if it starts to creep into the red. But if we had it where it was maxing out the red all the time, that would probably be an issue. So we just want to kind of tame it back down a bit, so it's just kind of filling the green as much as we can. So once we've set up our primary sources, or the primary sources of video and audio, we have to decide whether or not what we're doing on the screen is going to have any sound. So if we're doing a webcast, a screencast, sorry, and the software that we're using has got any audio cue, if we've designed a PowerPoint and there's audio within the PowerPoint that we want them to hear, we need to click on capture computer audio for that to work. But for this demo instance, we're not going to use that. And then the final thing is our secondary sources. So you can see here that Panopto has realized that I've got a main screen and a second screen, and it also gives me the option to capture PowerPoint. So I've got my main screen selected at the moment. And if I enable capture, screen capture preview, you can see that I can see what is on the screen at the moment. That if I was to hit record now, this is the screen that it would capture. And I can also uncheck that, check the second screen, and it shows me the screen on my laptop. For this video, I am going to capture my PowerPoint. So I've clicked on capture PowerPoint. Panopto has realized that Panopto has realized that PowerPoint is not running, and I can open a presentation from here. But my preferred workflow is to have Panopto open, have PowerPoint open, sorry, ready to record, or set up ready to go. And when you see, like now, Panopto has realized that PowerPoint is open, but it's not currently presenting. And I have a tick box where I can start presenting when recording starts. So this is my preferred setup. So I pick the folder, I name the recording, I set up my audio, decide whether or not I want to use video. I select the source that I want. If it's PowerPoint, I have PowerPoint open and start presenting when recording starts. And then when I'm ready, I can click F8 and it's going to launch me into PowerPoint in presentation mode. And then essentially PowerPoint is the top program I'm using. So clicking moves across the slides, using the arrow keys moves across the slides using the spacebar as you would normally. Before we demo that side of it, I just want to touch quickly on some of the settings that are available. these top settings I would leave the same. Meeting upload settings gives you the option to upload Skype for Business and go to recordings automatically into your personal folder. I believe Zoom will also do that if you make a Zoom recording. A few more of the app settings that are interesting. So if you're doing long videos and you're on a stable internet connection, you can choose to have it progressively uploading the video as you're recording. You can choose to have the recorder minimize as soon as you hit the record button. You can be notified with posts if a viewer posts or comments. So that's to do more with webcasting, which isn't something we're going to be looking at in this video. But if you are interested in webcasting, do please email Digital Education and we'll be able to aid you a bit more with that. Disabled hotkeys. So if you're going to do a software demo, if you're using something like an Adobe Creative Suite program, a lot of the F keys, the function buttons at the top of the keyboard, do stuff on that program, but they also do stuff in Panopto. So F9, for example, will pause the video, will pause the recording. If you don't disable the hotkeys on that, it will pause the video, but it won't do what you want it to do in the Adobe program, for example. So that's an option to keep it on. Use the default system proxy settings, that will be turned on by default. I would leave that one on. The other one that I wanted to draw interest to was to highlight the mouse cursor during screen capture. So in terms of Panopto screen capture, it's going to capture the whole of the screen that you've selected. If you're in a high resolution where you're sat quite close to the screen, your cursor is probably quite small. If you're then watching that on a tablet or a smaller screen, it can be difficult to follow that cursor around. So having the highlight the mouse cursor open, or option selected, sorry, just gives it a little yellow halo around the cursor, and it just makes it easier for the eye to track. There are some advanced settings where you can set up stuff, but my understanding is that those advanced settings will require a TIS password to enable. So again, once we've started, we've set our session settings up, our primary sources and our secondary sources, and we're happy that the presentation is the presentation that we want to use. We can begin recording. So I'm going to click on record, and you can see that it's taken me straight into the first slide of my Panopto experience presentation. What you can't see is on my secondary screen, my laptop screen. So I've got notes set up on this presentation. I can use my second screen to still read those notes and work through those notes. But for this example, I'm not going to use the notes. I'm just going to very quickly scroll through. And then on this overview of Panopto, I'm going to press F9 for a couple of seconds while I chat about the pause button. So I've pressed F9, I've paused it. And when I press F9 again, it unpauses it. But in terms of how Panopto uses the term pause, it's quite different to normal video kind of language. So what we're doing when we press F9 and telling the video to pause is in fact not stopping the video recording. The video is continuing to record as I'm talking now, but I've put a bit of metadata at the point where I've pressed F9 that's told Panopto, I don't want this part of the video to be shown. And now when I press F9, I'm telling it that from now on I can have the video shown again, and I can continue to record. So that's really useful if you think, oh, I'm going to have to take a sip of my drink, or I need to just to quickly have a check of my paper notes of what I want to say. Press F9, get yourself ready to go again, release the pause with F9 again, and then carry on recording. When I'm happy that the video is finished, I can press escape. I can bring the Panopto recording up, and I can click stop. It then gives me a dialog window that the recording is complete. At this point, again, I can change this demo recording name. It's telling me the folder that it's going to. I get the option, if I wasn't happy, I could delete and record again. But in this instance, I am happy, so I'm going to click on done. And you can see that it moves it to the tab in the middle called Manage Recordings. And you can see these are all the recordings I've made. If you feel like you're making lots of recordings, once it's up on the cloud, you can click on the delete local and it will remove the files associated with that video off your computer. You can see that a couple of these videos here are offline. So I made those videos when I didn't have an internet connection. So I used the offline mode, which you would select by clicking offline in the folder view or folder selection screen, sorry. And now if I wanted to, I could click on those and they would just automatically upload to the server. Now I'm back in internet enabled, sorry. So if we quickly jump on to our page, if I refresh my folder, we can see that that demo recorder is already ready to view. And because it's in my personal folder, no one's got access to it, so there's no need to go through the approval process. If I wanted to share stuff in my personal folder, I could click on share. I could change it to anyone in the organization with the link, and then I could email out this link or put this on a DLE page that I wanted people to see it from. But we'll keep it to specific people for now. So if we quickly look at the edit section, you can see when it loads that pause that we did is going to be there in that middle. So if I was to play from here, we just see it skip along. And it's just automatically skipping out that stuff. Very popular at the moment on Teams. If we wanted to do any other editing with the scissors collected there, we can find the edge of a video. So the start and the end of the video will have these edges automatically. And we just hold the left mouse button down. If I'm not happy with a cut, so if that pause was too long, I could remove it. And if I wanted to make a new one, I could just hold down the left mouse key and make a little cut. If I've made changes in the editor, I need to click on the apply button at the top to essentially action those changes. And down the side, there's just a few options. So this I've used a template to do my PowerPoint, and this white text is PowerPoint's title text. So because I've used that template and it's described as title text, Panopto's realized it and has used it to give me some navigational tools, which we'll have a look at in a second. A few other things that you can do is if you wanted to add captions, you can do so. If you're working heavily off notes, you can begin to build, copy and paste text into there to build up some subtitles. There's some options around changing slides. You can delete slides or you can replace them or change the times in which they apply if you want to finesse them a bit better. But I would recommend trying to do that all in your recording as opposed to trying to edit those things afterwards. One thing that is quite interesting is the ability to add a quiz at any point of the video. So if you're doing quite a long video and you want to kind of break it up into a bit more manageable chunks for your students, you could choose before, at the end of a topic, for example, to add a quiz. And you just get the option to build some kind of quite basic but quite useful true or false, multiple choice, multiple select, or fill in the blanks. I am going to be doing a video on quizzing in and of itself, so we won't go into too much detail with that now. But yeah, so once we're happy with the video, we click apply, close editor, and it's going to tell me that it's got to make some changes to the video, and then I can close that browser, and we can see that that demo recording has gone back grey, and it's just making those changes for me. Once the text is blue, we can click on that and we can see how the viewer would view it. So you can see we've got the slide in the center screen. If I'd chosen to use a webcam, it would appear in this kind of top left-hand corner. Along the bottom, I've got a timeline, which I can jump along as much as I want to. And I've also got a visual representation of each slide, which I can click on and move through as required. And then down the side as well, I've got skippable points, so I can just view the content how I want to view it, essentially. So yeah, so that is a really quick introduction to the Panopto standalone or manual recorder. Thank you for watching.